You know how when you hear the truth, it's so clear and so obvious that you wonder why you didn't realize it before. You know what I'm talking about? That realization of a piece of information which is so true and it's such a fact. When you hear something and you're like, of course that's what it is. You know what I'm talking about? You hear something and it's so true that you stop and you think, of course, why didn't I think about that before? So I was reading some of the work of what is he? He's a writer, he's a journalist, he's a medical journalist actually, called John Rappaport, but he writes about the human imagination. And I like his work because, in fact, I post his work almost every day on my Facebook page because he has a newsletter and I get it every day, and every day there's something in it which resonates with the way I think. And he writes a lot about creativity and the human imagination and the power of individual people. And he was writing about the difference between George Orwell's 1984 and Aldous Huxley's Brave New World, and the different futures presented in those two books. And so George Orwell has this authoritarian future in 1984 where the government is all powerful and the people have no power. And Aldous Huxley has this dystopic future where the government is all powerful and everyone is all happy. And everyone was worried about this dystopic 1984 future. But a long time ago, it was, I think, decided by certain people in certain places that it's much easier to manage and control people if the people are happy rather than sad, because happy people never revolt. There's no revolution when people are happy. There's no protest when people are happy. When people are happy, they live their lives and do whatever. Yes. When they're happy, they're comfortable, and it's a dangerous state to be in because they don't change, they don't grow. And so I was reading his writing about that, and he made the point that the 1984 was never the real future. The Brave New World was always the real future, because when everyone is happy, there will be no change and there will be no progress. And part of that is the robotic revolution, because the people are going to be made happier by robots than they are by people, because they have more control over them. But this is going to be negative for society, because the unpredictable human element will not be there anymore. And I was looking at other news stories and I was thinking, oh my God, he's right. The moment that the robots are, because you can see that you've got people marrying robots now. It's actually happening. People are marrying robots because the robots are making them happier than people. But what people don't understand is that the best is always also the worst. This is what people don't understand. The best is always also the worst, because you cannot separate good from bad, because they're contained within the same principle, that yin and yang concept. And the moment you focus on all happiness, you become incomplete as a person because you don't have any individuality or any emotional reaction to what's happening around about you in the world. And I see this with some elements of technology, like the Google system as a search engine. Like, Google's the best we've got, but at the same time it's also the worst, because it's the most easy way to manipulate how people process information. So the best is also the worst. The positive and the negative, the yin and yang, the fact that life is governed by death, right? So everything has this positive and negative side to it, and you can't have more time on one thing is less time on something else. Everything is limited in its vision, in its scope, and in its ability. So when people are looking for this easier ways, we definitely have some benefits, but we also perpetuate the same problems again and again as well. Most recreational drugs are designed to keep people happy. And what kind of... I had this lesson with my teenagers, with this group of teenagers that I teach, and it's great because we get to explore all these topics for the first time. And my question to them is, what kind of person takes a happy pill? What kind of person takes all these drugs? They're all happy pills. They're not designed to make you happy. So what kind of person takes a happy pill?
What was the answer?
Well, one of them gets it, and then they all get it, right? It's the 100th monkey syndrome, right? When one of them gets it, they all get it, right? And one of them is like, sad people. Exactly. Sad people take happy pills to be happy, because happy people don't need happy pills, right? If you're not sick, you don't take the medicine because you don't need it. So, and this is to try to get it through the teenagers' heads that if they're taking the happy pill, that's because they're not happy about something, and the happy pill's not going to change that. It's just going to be, the mask that you wear over your face to hide your real emotions. And it's interesting. There was a film about 15, 20 years ago with the actor Jim Carrey. I don't know, he made a big Hollywood actor anyway, and he made a film called The Mask, and it was all about it was all about what happens when you take the drugs. Yeah, it was just this extra personality that comes out, which is not really you. And that leads to so much more, because you get to, when you take the drug and you wear the mask, it's not you. So the people who are meeting you, they don't get to know you, because it's not you that they're meeting, it's the person in the mask. So they never really know you, and then you get more depressed and sad and lonely because nobody knows the real you, because you never show anyone the real you. So the end is in no way positive when you start down that road. Now this doesn't stop my teenage students from taking drugs, but at some point down the road, they will remember the conversation. At some point, they will remember it. They'll have a negative experience, and they'll remember the conversation, and then it will click, because change. The process of change is long, but the change is instantaneous. Instantaneous. The process of change is long, but the change is instantaneous. The process of study is long, but the understanding is instantaneous. So all learning is preparing for knowledge. That's what all learning is. Learning is preparing to understand. It's not learning itself that's understanding. It's learning that's preparing the understanding that will come in the future. It's, you know,
Why?
yeah, expecting somebody to walk out of the lecture hall getting it it's wrong, right? They don't get it there. They take it, they think about it, they mull it over in their brains, they sort of cook around with the information, and then at some later point in time the connections all come together. But it doesn't happen there and then. It always happens somewhere else. It's sometime else. Yeah. People look in the wrong places for the wrong kinds of information. They surround themselves with the wrong kinds of people. They try the wrong kinds of solutions. There's a lot of that in life. A lot of problems exist not because we don't know, but because the people around about us don't know. It's the mistake of our surroundings. We surround ourselves with people who know the same things that we know, which is always a classical mistake in terms of history. And we wonder why nobody understands anything.
Yeah.
Because everyone's standing looking in the mirror, wondering why the world is different from the reflection that they see. It's because they're not looking at anyone else. Everyone's just, staring at themselves. So